I specifically paid for premium seating, not this cramped excuse for a seat. Do you have any idea who I am? Rebecca, a white woman with an air of entitlement, snapped at Jessica, the flight attendant trying to help her. What happened next shocked everyone in the cabin. A loud smack echoed through the aircraft.
"Oh my God!"
She just hit the flight attendant, gasped a nearby passenger. You had that coming. How dare you disrespect me like this? Rebecca shouted, lunging forward to grab Jessica's uniform as if preparing to strike again. Despite the assault, Jessica maintained her composure remarkably well. She didn't flinch or retaliate. She didn't need to, because this story contains the most satisfying karma ever delivered to an entitled passenger who assaulted airline staff mid-flight. Before we dive deeper into this shocking incident, if you believe in treating everyone with dignity, regardless of their job title, hit the subscribe button, type respect in the comments section, and let us know which part of the world you're watching from. Your support helps us share more stories of justice served. The incident occurred on a bright Tuesday morning at Miami International Airport. The Seattle-bound flight was preparing to board its 163 passengers for the 6-hour cross-country journey. Jessica Thompson, a 28-year-old flight attendant with 5 years of experience with the airline, was among the crew welcoming passengers aboard. Colleagues often described Jessica as the ultimate professional, always greeting passengers with a genuine smile, handling her duties efficiently, and possessing a remarkable talent for diffusing tense situations before they escalated. As the passengers filed onto the plane, the atmosphere was pleasant, and the boarding process was proceeding smoothly, until Rebecca Mitchell appeared, a 46-year-old executive from a financial management firm. Rebecca was already engaged in a heated discussion with the gate agent before even stepping onto the aircraft. Standing confidently at 5'7", in her expensive designer suit and perfectly maintained blonde bob, Rebecca carried herself with an unmistakable air of superiority. Her Louis Vuitton carry-on and matching handbag, along with multiple designer accessories adorning her wrists and fingers, silently broadcast her financial status to everyone around her. As Jessica continued greeting passengers with her warm smile, she immediately noticed Rebecca's sour expression. "Welcome aboard, ma'am," Jessica offered politely as Rebecca approached the aircraft entrance. Rebecca barely acknowledged her, brushing past with visible irritation. Jessica maintained her professionalism and continued welcoming other passengers. After years in the industry, one dismissive traveler wasn't enough to dampen her positive attitude. Just 15 minutes into boarding, Jessica's attention was drawn to a commotion in the Economy Plus section. "Excuse me, this is completely unacceptable." Rebecca's voice projected loudly above the ambient cabin noise. "This cannot possibly be what I paid for." Jessica made her way down the aisle to find Rebecca standing beside seat 12A, a window seat with extra legroom in the premium economy section, gesturing dramatically at the space. "Is there a problem with your seat?" Jessica inquired calmly. "Yes, there's obviously a problem," Rebecca responded sharply. "I booked a seat with extra legroom, but this is ridiculous. This doesn't even have enough space for a child." Several passengers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Economy Plus seat actually offered a generous 36 inches of pitch, significantly more than standard economy seats. "I understand your concern," Jessica responded empathetically. "This is indeed the Economy Plus seat that matches your boarding pass. It provides an additional 4 inches of legroom compared to standard economy." "That's absurd," Rebecca shot back. "I've flown Economy Plus before, and it was nothing like this cramped space." Nearby passengers exchanged uncomfortable glances as the confrontation continued to unfold. 3 rows behind Rebecca, a young mother traveling alone with her toddler was trying desperately to soothe her crying child. The boy, around 3 years old, was clearly distressed by the cabin pressure affecting his ears. The black mother was well prepared, offering him a sippy cup, a tablet with cartoons, and gentle reassurances. Rebecca, irritated by the child's crying, abruptly unbuckled her seatbelt and turned toward them. "Can you control your kid?" she demanded loudly. "Some of us are trying to work here." The mother looked up, mortified. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to calm him down. His ears are hurting from the pressure. Well, try harder, Rebecca snapped. Or maybe don't bring children on flights if you can't keep them quiet. The child, sensing his mother's distress, cried louder. The mother, fighting back tears, desperately tried to console him. People like you and your son shouldn't even be allowed on this plane. Rebecca muttered, just loud enough to be heard. The racist undertone was unmistakable. Jessica quickly approached. Is everything all right here? No, it's not, Rebecca interrupted. That child has been screaming nonstop while I'm trying to work. I'm so sorry, the mother said to Jessica. I'm really trying my best. Jessica smiled reassuringly at the mother. You're doing fine. This happens to all children sometimes. She then turned to Rebecca with a more serious expression. Ma'am, I need to ask you to return to your seat, and I must remind you that respectful language is required at all times. Several passengers nearby exchanged glances of disbelief at Rebecca's behavior, with one elderly woman shaking her head in disapproval. As the meal service began an hour into the flight, the cabin crew proceeded down the narrow aisle with their carts. When they reached Rebecca's row, she refused to adjust her position, effectively blocking the aisle. Excuse me, ma'am, said Michael, another flight attendant. Would you mind moving your legs slightly so we can bring the meal service through? Rebecca looked up with exaggerated annoyance. I'm already cramped in this inadequate seat. I don't have anywhere to move. Just a small adjustment would be enough, Michael explained patiently. This is outrageous, Rebecca announced loudly. First I'm downgraded from my rightful seat. Then I'm attacked for asking basic courtesy from other passengers. And now I'm being told to make myself even more uncomfortable. Passengers waiting for their meals began to show visible frustration. A businessman several rows back called out, "Come on, lady. We're all hungry back here." To everyone's astonishment, Rebecca pulled out her phone and began recording herself. Holding it to capture her face with the flight attendants in the background, she spoke in a performative voice. I'm currently being harassed on a flight from Miami to Seattle. After being improperly downgraded from my first-class seat, I'm now being singled out and discriminated against by these flight attendants. A group of teenagers noticed the unfolding drama, with one whispering to another, classic entitled behavior. This is definitely going viral. Jessica approached calmly. Mom, while personal recording is permitted, harassment of crew members is not. Could you please adjust your position to allow meal service to continue? Other passengers were now openly staring, many recording the incident on their phones, their expressions ranging from disbelief to outright anger at Rebecca's disruptive behavior. When the meal service finally reached Rebecca, she examined her tray with theatrical disgust. What is this supposed to be? It looks nothing like the premium meal options advertised, she complained, poking at her chicken pasta with her fork. That's our chicken pasta option, ma'am, as you selected during check-in, Michael explained calmly. I'm allergic to gluten, Rebecca suddenly announced. I can't eat pasta. I need a gluten-free option immediately. Michael checked his tablet. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we have no record of a gluten-free meal request for your seat. Dietary requirements need to be submitted at least 24 hours before the flight. This is ridiculous, Rebecca fumed. I'm telling you right now that I have an allergy. Are you refusing to accommodate a medical condition? Despite no previous mention of this alleged allergy, including when Rebecca had been offered gluten-containing snacks earlier, Jessica approached with genuine concern. Ms. Mitchell, we take food allergies very seriously. While we don't have a dedicated gluten-free meal prepared, let me see what alternatives we might have that would be safe for you. A middle-aged man across the aisle rolled his eyes, clearly recognizing the fabricated nature of Rebecca's sudden allergy. Within minutes, Jessica returned with a carefully assembled alternative: fresh fruit, packaged gluten-free snacks from the airline's emergency allergy kit, and a salad with croutons removed. I've personally checked these items, and they should be safe for someone with gluten sensitivity, she explained professionally. Rebecca looked at the offerings with visible contempt. This is what you expect me to eat for a 6-hour flight, after downgrading me and subjecting me to harassment. Several passengers exchanged glances of disbelief at Rebecca's continued gratitude, despite Jessica's obvious efforts to accommodate her. The situation deteriorated rapidly when Rebecca abruptly stood up, sending her meal tray tumbling to the floor. "That's it. I've had enough of this treatment," she declared loudly. Jessica stepped back slightly. "Ms. Mitchell, I need you to return to your seat and fasten your seatbelt." "Or what?" Rebecca challenged, stepping into the aisle. "You'll continue to discriminate against me, mock my medical condition. I want your name and employee number right now." "My name is Jessica Thompson, and my employee ID is visible on my badge," Jessica replied calmly, though tension was evident in her voice. "Now, please return to your seat." "Thompson, of course." Rebecca scoffed with a racist undertone. "Well, Miss Thompson, expect to be looking for a new job tomorrow. My company does millions in business with this airline." The teenagers were now recording openly, one whispering to another, "This is going to explode online." Without warning, Rebecca lunged forward and slapped Jessica hard across the face. The sound echoed through the cabin, followed by gasps and shouts from shocked passengers. "Oh my God, she hit her!" someone shouted. "She assaulted the flight attendant," called another voice. "You deserve that! How dare you treat me this way?" Rebecca shouted, her grabbing at Jessica's uniform as if to continue the assault. Michael immediately intervened, positioning himself between Rebecca and Jessica. "Ma'am, stop immediately. Return to your seat now." An off-duty police officer quickly identified himself and approached. "Mom, I'm a police officer. You need to stand down and return to your seat immediately." The captain's voice came over the intercoms. "This is your captain speaking. Due to a security incident, we will be making an emergency landing in Denver. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened." Passengers looked stunned, realizing that one person's behavior had forced an emergency diversion affecting everyone aboard. As the aircraft began its descent toward Denver, a tense atmosphere filled the cabin. The off-duty officer and two male passengers helped restrain Rebecca, who continued shouting accusations despite being the clear aggressor. "I didn't even hit her that hard. She's totally faking it for attention," Rebecca claimed loudly, while Jessica was being attended to in the front galley. A visible red mark had formed on Jessica's cheek where she'd been struck. Passengers spoke quietly among themselves, many expressing concern for Jessica and disbelief at Rebecca's behavior. Several offered to provide their contact information as witnesses for any charges that might follow. "I've got the whole thing on video," said one of the teenagers, showing his phone to a flight attendant. She clearly assaulted her without provocation. An elderly couple nearby shook their heads in dismay. "In all our years of flying, we've never seen anything like this," the woman whispered to her husband. In a bizarre twist, Rebecca continued filming herself intermittently. "They're making an emergency landing because I stood up for myself," she narrated to her phone. "This is what happens when you challenge authority on these airlines." As the plane touched down in Denver, law enforcement officers were already waiting at the gate. The captain made another announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for this unexpected stop. Local authorities will be boarding to address the security incident. We ask for your patience." When the aircraft doors opened, 3 police officers boarded and proceeded directly to Rebecca's seat. "Mom, we need you to gather your belongings and come with us," the lead officer stated firmly. "This is harassment. I'm the victim here." Rebecca protested as the officers escorted her from the aircraft, to the visible relief of the remaining passengers, many of whom began to applaud as she was removed. As Rebecca was being escorted off the plane by Denver police, the social media storm was already brewing. One of the teenagers who had recorded the incident checked his phone as connectivity returned. "Whoa, my video already has 50,000 views and it's only been up for 20 minutes, he told his friends excitedly. "It's trending with Fairline Karen." The captain's voice came over the intercom again. "Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the delay. We'll be continuing to Seattle shortly after refueling. Our estimated departure time is approximately 45 minutes from now. Several passengers approached Jessica, who had returned to the cabin looking composed despite the red mark still visible on her cheek. "Are you okay?" asked a concerned elderly woman. What that woman did was absolutely inexcusable. Jessica smiled professionally. "I'm fine, thank you for your concern. We're trained to handle difficult situations, though not usually quite this extreme." A business traveler in a suit offered his business card. "I'm an attorney. If you need a witness statement for the assault charges, please contact me." What you experienced was completely unacceptable. Meanwhile, in the terminal, Rebecca was discovering the consequences of her actions as officers informed her of the potential charges: assault, interfering with a flight crew, and possibly hate crime enhancements due to her racially charged comments. By the time the flight landed in Seattle, the video had gone viral across multiple platforms, with millions of views and thousands of supportive comments for Jessica. Rebecca's identity had been discovered by internet sleuths, and her employer had already issued a statement distancing themselves from her behavior and announcing an investigation. This story reminds us that actions have consequences, especially in our connected world. If you enjoyed this true account of justice served, please support our channel Change Weavers by subscribing and sharing this video. Together, we can highlight stories that show the importance of treating everyone with dignity and respect.